Welcome in on your Labor Day. No vacations here. It's like a Will Muschamp regime around here. We don't take vacations. We give you the platform, and we will take the platform as well to talk about what we saw from the weekend and what we get ready for tonight. If you're a Clemson fan, Tigers and Yellow Jackets over in Atlanta, as we will wrap up the opening weekend, the true opening weekend of college football, and it's been pretty good. A lot of ground to try and cover today here on the program. Thankfully, we get 15 hours all week, and so we'll be able to get into a lot of different topics. But as far as the college football weekend goes, not bad. Maybe could have had a few more things. Certainly, you had a couple incredible games. North Carolina State, East Carolina, North Carolina, Appalachian State instantly jump out as maybe the games of the weekend there. The 63-61 North Carolina victory over Appalachian State, probably the game of the weekend. North Carolina State and East Carolina, certainly a 21-20 Wolfpack victory where East Carolina's kicker misses a extra point and a game-winning field goal in about the final, 5.5 minutes, I believe, is what that came down to. Last night, you got a pretty good one in Florida State and LSU. Brian Kelly losing in his debut as LSU head football coach. And then, of course, you had what transpired here in Columbia on Saturday night. And we will get to a lot of reaction, obviously, this morning on that game. The good, the bad, the extremely ugly, the extremely awesome. Jen and I were both there. She saw the lights. I saw the lights. I feel like you all saw the lights. People probably at the moon saw the lights from Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday night. And it was quite the atmosphere. And that was the great on Saturday night. South Carolina fans absolutely brought the A game on Saturday night. The whole day leading up, the crowd. I don't know what I don't know. You could probably never track this. I'd be fascinated to know what the not the attendance, but what the number of people around the stadium were. I mean, the Gamecock walk looked absolutely insane, absolutely crazy with the. You always say there's 70 now, 77,000, 78,000 seats in the stadium, and it was a sold out game, and there was a small pocket in one of the corners that was kind of empty, but other than that, it was packed. So you estimate 77,000. There had to be about 110,000 people around the stadium, maybe more. I have no idea. That's kudos to everybody involved at South Carolina for really an incredible. I will admit, I will openly admit, there might have been some tears about the start of the fourth quarter. I was sitting there with Austin, my 10-year-old son, and he, as I said, 10, and it was about 10 years old that I started going to football games, and it was a combination of just sitting there with your son, but laughing that you're crying. Because I thought about the stadium 30 years ago, not just the stadium, but the surrounding area. And, we're going into the fourth quarter and they're playing the music and they're blaring, they're doing the lights and sandstorms coming on. And all I could think back to 10-year-old Bill Gunner, where we sat 30 years ago when I started going with my father. We sat in the student section below what is now the Eddie Floyd building, about halfway up in between right in the dead center of the goalpost there. And all I could think about was the stadium 30 years ago and how different it is for my 10-year-old son getting to go to football games today, and just the LED lights and just everything that encompasses an experience now at Williams-Brice Stadium. And again, that was the absolute great from Saturday night. Williams-Brice Stadium has always been one of the better experiences. I've been to almost everywhere in the SEC. I haven't been to Fayetteville, and I've not been to Columbia, Missouri. I've been to a lot of ACC stadiums as well. And Williams-Brice, ranks up there in terms of great stadiums, and when South Carolina's winning and you're getting people in there, it's an incredible atmosphere. What they've kind of done, I think, moves the needle even more and creates an even better environment. Now you've got to win. You let's be honest about that. South Carolina, Shane Beamer, they have to win to continue to create that environment that Williams Bryce had on Saturday. And that'll be interesting to see in 2 weeks what it's like at noon. Ed asks, why is the Georgia game at noon? Because this is pretty simple. That's what ESPN wants. When you pay 300 whatever it is, million, billion, whatever Disney is paying, and that's why you're going to see games now with the Big Ten. You're going to have the Fox noon game. They're paying what, the 1.7 billion dollars. Television will dictate when, where, how, whatever you want to call it. Television dictates college football now. Disney, CBS, ESPN. It'll now be NBC tied in there with the Big Ten. That's why the game's at noon, is because that's when ESPN and Disney want the football game. They want it at noon. For Arkansas fans, I think we'd all agree. Arkansas fans this weekend do not want an 11 a.m. kickoff in Fayetteville. Doesn't matter. That's what they're getting. They're getting an 11 a.m. kickoff, and they'll like it, and they'll show up. Or, as the television people would prefer you do, you can stay home and catch it on the television. So that's why the Georgia game will be at noon, because that is what ESPN wants, and that is what ESPN will get. If they want you to play at 9 a.m. now, pack your bags and get up there at 6 a.m. and start tailgating. Thankfully, at least as of yet, we have not had a 9 a.m. football game for the East Coast. But again, West I'm just that's where we're at, and that's why South Carolina has to do the LED lights and create the club seating. South Carolina, Clemson, you name the school, Georgia, Alabama, they're all they're gladly cashing the checks that come in from television money, but they're fighting television to get you to the stadium. And I heard some people, I will say, I think the atmosphere, and as great as everything was, apparently getting out, Jen, I think you were on Key Road there, maybe in the media a lot. I heard people trying to get from the Gamecock Park back to Bluff Road was quite the experience. And it was. So yeah, well, there you go. So that was the great Saturday night. The atmosphere at Williams Bryce Stadium, everything that was involved. There was some good on the field. We will get into that a little bit on Saturday night. There was also that thing that I talked about for about 9 hours out of the 15 hours here on this program, that offensive line. We'll certainly get into that. I've got a lot of thoughts. I want to share them with you. If you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning via the text line. I see several of you already up and in and ready to go. We'll certainly talk a little bit about that and get some of the thoughts on what we all saw on Saturday night. Good, bad, ugly. We'll kind of take our time looking ahead to Arkansas. We'll have plenty of time to do that later this week. But the Razorbacks pull out a 31-24 victory over Cincinnati on Saturday night, or a Saturday afternoon. The Georgia Bulldogs, I agree. There was a tweet. I can't remember who put it out, but there was a tweet that got put out over the weekend, and it said if Alabama had beaten Oregon in the manner in which Georgia beat Oregon, ESPN would have inundated you with yesterday of about 15 hours of is this Alabama team the greatest football team of all time? Instead, Georgia does it, and we're all kind of like, that seems about right. But yeah, there was a thumping on Saturday afternoon over at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Very well may see another thumping over there tonight when Georgia Tech plays host to Clemson. So we'll get into a lot of that this morning. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100, the live stream up and rolling. Anthony RL in this morning. For those of you who've either got to get up and go to work, or you just naturally get up early and like listening to Sports Talk Radio, we'll get you through the next 3 hours. Get your take on things. Feel free to weigh in, 803-404-6100. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
15th anniversary celebration is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.
Enjoying tailgating this past weekend. Oh, always a little bit of fun. There was some cornhole games going on. The kids were playing football. And you know what? If you've been suffering from back problems, if you've had issues with arthritis or sore muscles, maybe you've had a car accident recently or some kind of accident and things just don't seem to be working correctly, well, you probably didn't get to enjoy it quite like everybody else. That means it's time to call KC Chiropractic Center, 803-796-2424. You can't miss them. They're over by the Krispy Kreme in West Columbia. Certainly, you need to call and schedule an appointment today. 803-796-2424. Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman Cooper, they've been taking care of families in the Midlands for over 20 years, making sure they get you back to the healthy lifestyle you deserve, getting you out of pain, keeping you healthy so you can focus on enjoying your lifestyle. They offer transparent and affordable pricing, so you never have to worry about hidden fees. Again, whether it's back pain, arthritis, sore muscles, you've had an accident lately and you don't think something's working properly and you need a little bit of an adjustment, call KC Chiropractic Center, 803-796-2424. Again, they've got a simple goal: keep you out of pain and keep you healthy so you can focus on enjoying everyday life. Let's be honest, if you got back pain, moving around can be it's no fun at all. Don't let that happen. Call Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman Cooper, 803-796-2424. Again, that's 803-796-2424. That's Casey Chiropractic Center. All right, we're going to have, looks like an entertaining live stream today because thankfully I don't think many people will be on, but I'm not able to log into that computer to get the audio set up. So that's not a positive. But I wonder. No, wait, that's yeah, no, that ain't that strategy is not going to work either. He looks forward to working full time for the union now, and maybe to enjoy the last laugh at the league's expense. A former science. Raymond Yachts here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some Nimrod. Trying to think of something that where when we have Jamie Bradford, y'all can hear it. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Definitely going to be one of those mornings. The downside to doing sports talk radio. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Granger, we're here for you, with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for.
You can't see it, but I've got a very serious face going right now on how to make this work. I should pop that up. I did do that last night.
The hottest summer deals are at Mattress Firm. Shop the best sale of the year and save up to $700 on Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets. Plus, you'll even get a
tight name. I don't think.
Whatever you have planned today.
Yeah, that's my email. Let's see here. I think somewhere along the way I deleted my information on how to log in, and I apparently cannot retrieve it.
Just $19,990. All new 2023 Kia Sportage LX. Lease for just $259 per month. Plus, Galliani Kia will take any trade-in in any condition, even if it's not paid off. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. You want exactly what your trade is worth and a new Kia below MSRP. Labor Day savings going on now. The sooner you come in, the more you save. At Caliana Kia on Granstone, I-126, Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Full text stock number 3K1511. Sport is stock number 3K3037. 36 months lease, $39.99 to the sign. This tax tag includes $225 closing. No security deposit. Every trade equity finance to new loan. Subject to lien approval. Expires Monday. Since 1964, Gateway Supply has been the Midland's leader.
Oh boy. Let's see. Yep. Good morning to y'all, by the way. Yeah, just like I said, we may have some technical difficulties here. How do I see sign into Cumulus US? I wonder.
Design services, expert advice for customers and contractors alike. Visit them online at gatewaysupply.com. Right.
All right, we'll worry about it in the next break. Apologize. I'm going to probably take Gamecock Larry here, and y'all will probably not hear him. So I apologize up front for that. Like I said, I got to figure out how to sign in this computer.
I'll try to turn up my speaker and see if, that'll help. And I'm also typing up the cut list. (803-404-6100). A couple of you weighing in on the text line. Ed weighing in said, "Did Sherrod Green play at all?" Nope, he did not, and not real sure why. We got lots of Shane Beamer audio over here, and we will get to some of that this morning here, starting in this segment. We'll play a little bit of that this morning, but no, Sherrod Green didn't play. Harry weighing in this morning says special teams A+, defense B+, offense D-, says it was the same old offense with really cool lights. We've got to get rid of Satterfield, or we continue seeing the same old stuff with this offense. I don't see a conference win until late October or maybe November. AC weighing in this morning says excellent special teams play, but I'm worried this is going to be another year where we complain about the offensive line all season. So a couple of you weighing in. And Jim, a good buddy up in Carolina Beach, he is pulling for his Tigers. He says beat Georgia Tech, and he's headed out. Nice Labor Day out there offshore fishing for Spanish mackerel. So good to everybody. Good to see everybody up and at it with us this morning, including the one and only Gamecock Larry, who was right on his prediction. 1-0. And that means he can continue to predict 15-0, because that's still very possible. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling this morning?
Feeling pretty good. Got a few things to say about the game Saturday night. Very little offense. Was very little offense. That's including the offensive line. We got to get better. 2 50-plus yard field goals. 2 block punts for touchdown. But as I said, bad offensive line. Lots of Jalen Brooks, no Van or Joyner. He's going to be better next week. He's going to be better next week. And that text, whatever said about same offensive and this and that, we ain't going to get. And FC still win until the end of the season or something. Let me tell you something, buddy. Let me tell you something, sir. We're going to be.
We're good with. I see. We're good with all this audio.
We're going to be 6
Is it the same if I just tell you 1 through 29? That'll help.
5-1.
Yeah, I was typing it up because I can't always keep it on that page.
That's not all I got to say. I got to sit down here. Oh, I'll tell you what. LSU. Oh, yeah, they got that coach in there, the best coach. As Bill keeps saying, the best coach in the SEC. Listen to that. Look how good old Brian Kelly is today. Crying. Florida State beat LSU and Brian Kelly. That's about all I got to say. Have a good day. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch the upset of the year tonight when Georgia Tech takes on the Tigers. And I'll say Georgia Tech 7, Clemson 51.
Oh, jeez.
There you go.
Sounds good. Threw me a curveball there with that. I thought you were going to go below 7. Good to hear from you, buddy. Good to hear from you. Glad you're up and doing good this morning there, Gamecock there. Yeah, 51-7 does seem about right tonight in that Clemson Georgia Tech game. Yeah, there's a lot to get into when it breaks down. All right, let's. I'll do this throughout the morning. Jamie Bradford should be joining us coming up in about 37 minutes for his usual Monday morning segment. We'll get his take as well. There's no way to sugarcoat it. The offensive line was point blank awful on Saturday night. I will, at least for this game, somewhat excuse Marcus Satterfield because I don't really care who your offensive play caller was or would have been. If your offensive line is that bad, if they stink that bad, you're not going to be able. We're not going to really see what Satterfield can do. You're putting way too much pressure on Spencer Rattler and having to throw the football. And Rattler made some mistakes on Saturday night. 2 bad interceptions from him on Saturday night. I'm not trying to absolve Marcus Satterfield. I'm not trying to say that he was perfect, but Steve Spurrier had issues. And there was a lot of you back in 2005, 2006, 2007 that for the majority of the season would question whether the ball game had passed Steve Spurrier by because his offensive line with John Hunt was that bad. I remember those days, and John Hunt was, just an albatross around Steve Spurrier's neck there, trying to get his offense up and go. Now, Marcus Satterfield is not Steve Spurrier when it comes to play calling, and Spurrier could sometimes get it going and dial things up, but we remember him having to make the switch to Savell Newton simply because they couldn't run the ball and they couldn't protect the quarterback. And so I'm not trying to take blame, anything away. I'm not trying to give credit to Marcus Satterfield, but I'm also not going to hold him quite as accountable this morning because something has to be fixed with that offensive line. And it might be that they're also not strong enough. Last night, Shane Beamer was talking to the media, and he pointed out in a Sunday night press conference that the offensive line had their hand in it, but so did the coaches, so did the running backs, so did wide receivers. The whole team as a unit blocking anybody stunk. I mean, that's the bottom line. Wide receivers, running backs, nobody blocked on Saturday night. There were times wide receivers simply got whipped on the perimeter. The offensive line was bad. So, whether that's, I'm not smart enough to tell you whether that's a scheme thing. To me, that's a physical thing, right? I thought about this some on Saturday night, thinking back to 2 of the previous 3 coaches under South Carolina. I remember under with Lou Holtz, they would have these incredibly physical preseason practices, and South Carolina would come out of the gate and be very physical. They'd line up. You remember some of the absolute brawls with Georgia early on in the season, where you'd be watching, and ESPN announcers would be talking about how physical that football game was. I remember when South Carolina wore the all black there against Georgia, I think in 2004 or something like that. Coach Simpson had an interception return, and the announcers just talking about how physical that game was because Lou Holtz in the preseason, he would just beat you into the ground. I mean, the preseason practices, talking with players would be as physical as anything, but then by November, the players would be physically beaten down. Whereas Steve Spurrier, then you get Steve Spurrier comes in and he would do these very light country club-esque type preseason practices, and quite frankly would take them 2 or 3 games until they got really talented. 2011, 2012, and 2013, it would take them 2 or 3 games to kind of get going and play up to their standard. And then all of a sudden they had ultra talented players across the board, and that kind of made up for some things. So I'm not sure if the preseason practices are not physical enough. I'm not sure if Luke Day's strength and conditioning program is strengthening these guys. Maybe it's just as simple as South Carolina needs to recruit better on the offensive line, and you're kind of seeing that with Big Tree Babalade, with Marquis Anderson, with Trayvon Ball. Isaiah Jada, I think, is now a 4-star on Own 3 Sports. You had a couple guys last year. Ryan Brubaker was right there on the cusp of 4-star status. Kason Henry and Grayson Maines. I think there's a whole combination of things here that need to be fixed with the offensive line. I don't think we can just point at Marcus Satterfield's scheme. I don't think we can just point at the players. I think it is just, it's a bad, bad, bad situation, if you ask my opinion on it, where there's not enough talent on the offensive line. Even though there's experience, there's, I guess, just not enough talent. That's got to be one thing in it. I don't know if the scheme allows for the continued lack of athleticism, which again, Greg Atkins is trying to address through recruiting more athletic offensive linemen, because some of these guys right now are just, they're stones out there. They can't move anywhere. We'll see if it improves. Obviously, I had heard some stuff in the preseason that led me to believe that this could be an issue, and that's why I talked about it at length last week. And now you see it on Saturday night, in which South Carolina just simply couldn't do anything on the ground. Just absolutely, Marshawn Lloyd was as good a running back as I've seen it. There was a particular play, I think, out of the shotgun where he got the ball, and almost before he could get the ball on a shotgun snap and a handoff from Spencer Rattler, he was hit. And Lloyd was fantastic at getting away from people. That was the Marshawn Lloyd, by the way, that we all expected coming out of DeMatha High School, and then the unfortunate injury. And thank goodness he was back to 100%. Otherwise, I don't know if he's able to necessarily get some of the yards he got. The offensive line, they were bad, but I agree. Shane Beamer is right when he says that the wide receivers and the tight ends too, they got whipped in blocking. There was nobody that blocked anybody on Saturday night at any point for South Carolina. So I don't know if it is a physical thing. It might be a strength thing. Maybe they need to look at doing something differently with the strength and conditioning program for offensive linemen, because they certainly don't even look like they're physical enough to just come out and blow somebody off the ball, right? Just line up, hit them in the mouth, push them back. We'll continue talking about this. If you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. All right.
Happy anniversary to us on your home.
I can't.
1075 The Game and the new 1075 The Game app. 1075 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Good news, no accidents reported this time. Hope the morning stays clear of all that nonsense. Might see a scattered storm, definitely not a washout today.
Yeah, speakers. I thought it was fine. I know some people got upset with the speakers, but I thought the speakers were fine.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com. Are you ready for a new car? State Credit Union now has excellent rates on new and used vehicles, and you'll enjoy having no car payments for up to 90 days. Not a member of State Credit Union yet? Joining us.
Having to go back and clear out the text line too.
SCSCU.com. That's SCSCU.com. In the market for an electric vehicle? Ask about additional.
You got a whole thing.
Yeah, just because there's times where I have to pop off of it. So I want you to at least. Yeah, and I said, what the hell? Where'd it go?
Do what?
I just wanted you to have.
Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, let's just come back and play the whole number one. I meant to text Jamie yesterday, but I got tied up. I assume he's getting up and
Well, I'm calling him, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think we have any giveaways or anything, do we? Okay. Yeah, I assume today is just we're on our own kind of, because quite honestly, there should be many more. There should actually be more lives, but I'm guessing it's just because the work week technically starts tomorrow. I feel like because I think like QC Kinetics was supposed to be back today. Then Jetsy. What did we read? We read one the other day where was it Jetsy?
Because they hadn't done it for a while.
Was that right on Friday? Is that the one you said?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty light today. Anyway.
Well, we'll do it and get the heck out of here back now.
I'm fired up about that.
Yeah.
This has been NFL Network Now, Westwood One Radio Network. Hey, football fans, it's Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to let you know that with NFL Sunday Ticket.tv, you can watch your favorite football team no matter where you live. That's because NFL Sunday Ticket.tv gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. Stream right to your favorite device. Visit NFL Sunday Ticket.tv.
All right. I don't think there is a change your password thing here on our computer. Oh, I know what I was going to do a little while ago before we came back. I was going to try and see if I could log into my Workday account. Yeah, wait. That's it. I think this is it. I might just get up at the crack of dawn tomorrow and come in and try and do this. (803-404-6100). That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. You can hop on our live stream as well, although I will admit right now we've got some technical issues in terms of audio back through the system on the live stream, so you might be better suited for listening via the radio this morning or on the live stream on our app where you can go and check out our new app, the 107.5 The Game app. You can also go on our website on the computer and hear it as, again, trying to get that fixed to be able to run the audio through the live stream. Hopefully we'll get that up and doing. Speaking of some audio, talking in the last segment about the offensive line, blocking in general. Don't just pin it on the offensive line. Make sure you pin it on the wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. Anybody that was supposed to block somebody on Saturday night did a poor job of it. Shane Beamer talked a little bit about that. He gave a game overview afterwards and how parts of the game were ugly. You're listening. I was about to go to break. Let's not go to break yet. Let's just play Shane Beamer here from Saturday night.
Obviously, we got a lot of work.
Yeah, I just don't have the, like this. You can't hear this right now. We can kind of fiddle with it, but unfortunately, speakers were clear.
Not what we need to do But having said that, we're really proud of the way our offense responded to some adversity, to throw an interception.
I guess I'll try to turn this up a little bit. You can see the countdown.
Touchdown was really big.
Oh, okay. Yeah, perfect.
Right there as well. So, yes, there's a lot of good.
Because they can't hear it right now, right?
As well, defensively, they made a whole lot of
Here,
stops.
you can hear it through here. Yeah, and, what you're doing is good.
Going into this thing was to stop the run, and
They ran the ball 40 times. That's what they do. And so they had a couple explosives in there, but for the most part, I thought we did a good job of stopping the run after that first series. And we knew we needed to hit the quarterback, and we hit him tonight and made him uncomfortable, which was awesome. So credit to our defense for getting all those stops, which then allowed our special teams to come out there and do what they did on punt pressure for us also. So there was really good in all three phases. There was some bad in all three phases. We've got to play and coach and play better going forward. But, my dad used to always say this, and I've heard it from a lot of people: you make the most improvement as a football team between week 1 and week 2. And we've got a lot to improve before we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the problem with the audio.
To not play great and to win against a really good football team by 3 touchdowns.
I've got a secondary computer right here that I can't get logged into.
Winning around here, that's an excited, joyful locker room.
Run
These kids deserve it for all the work they've put in.
Other audio through. Y'all can hear me.
It was a great night in Columbia for the home opener, and I can't wait to get back to work tomorrow.
Seeing if I can
tomorrow as well. I'd be remiss, the specialists, with what they did. Kai coming out tonight, the way that he kicked or punted. Mitch Jeter in her first game was a starting kicker, hitting some big field goals. Hunter Rogers on the fake field goal. Making the plays that we did on special teams. Trayvon Kenyon and Rashad Amos blocking those 2 punts was really huge momentum wise for sure. And credit to Coach Limbo and what we did as well.
That was Shane Beamer on Saturday night talking about that. And you heard him mention there also the special. So the blocking was bad. All right. We can dwell on that for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And trust me, we've got plenty that we will talk about that all week. Shane Beamer spoke last night. Shane Beamer also will speak again, obviously, on Tuesday at Carolina at his press conference. He'll speak on Thursday night at Carolina Calls. And good grief, I've got a feeling that, yes, he will have to address that many times this week. And that group, they should be embarrassed. We'll see if they're able to bounce back and I'm not really going to buy the theory that you do improve so much from game 1 to game 2, especially along the offensive line, because of the fact that, again, you got 4 seniors there. They're not just seniors. Some of them are super seniors. Eric Douglas, I think, is somewhere around year 5 right now. Dylan Wanham's around year 5. I know he's had injuries, and that's kind of limited him. But he's been around. Javon Quinn has been around. These guys, they've been through the wars. And that's why I talked about it last week as it pertained to coming out and being not even really dominant. I was not asking last week for the offensive line to be dominant. I was asking for them to be competent. A little bit of a difference there. Open some holes. If Marshawn Lloyd's got to make a man miss in the hole, all right, maybe he can make a miss and then kind of run away from him. But when you're getting the football and before you can really get into even your first step, then that's a problem. And South Carolina didn't. The other one was that just physically South Carolina could not move Georgia State back. And, Shane Beamer has talked about the speed of which with Georgia State plays, their defensive line, how they're built a little bit differently. Let's play number 6, Jen. Shane Beamer was asked about the offensive concerns on Saturday night, and he got into a little bit more detail. Here's Shane Beamer talking about the offensive concerns on Saturday night.
Well, got to run the ball better. We can't be 3 of 14 on third down. We can't throw 2 interceptions. There's a lot, to build upon. And having said that, we knew because of their style of defense, it was going to be difficult. There were going to be some ugly plays tonight. And we told the team that last night. There's going to be some second and 10s and 2nd and 11s just because of their style. We've got to do a better job of covering people up and just being able to execute our stuff. And I think the biggest thing that we learned tonight and saw tonight is we just need that. We had too much offense in, but we just really need to narrow down what, Spencer, it's his first year in the offense. And it's not like Luke Doty, who was in this offense last year, and now he's in year 2 and he has a better understanding. Spencer's been in this offense for 8 months, and he's not going to have the same understanding and comfort level with it that a quarterback in year 2 would. So we knew that already, don't get me wrong, but I think we just got to continue now that we've been in the game. He's gotten hit some too many times tonight, but just continuing to narrow down what he's comfortable with and being able to run the ball consistently, because the same people that ran the ball well towards the end of last year in some games is the same group that was out there tonight. We just got to do a better job of executing.
That's Shane Beamer talking a little bit about the offense there from Saturday night. And again, we can dwell on that. We'll get into a little bit of the Spencer Rattler debut. Our thoughts, my thoughts on that. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning. Again, you're listening to Bill Gunner and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007, and on November 12th, 107.5 The Game went on the air. And since then, we have celebrated with you.
All right, let me, so we're trying, yeah, that's what I was telling y'all, the audio, when you hear me fine, but trying to play audio is, because this computer, we run it, I've got something, so you see this computer here, I need to log into that, and all of a sudden I cannot get in.
Happy anniversary to.
I thought they tried to run between the tackles. I just don't think it went very far at all. It doesn't work. Very rarely did it work. I think it was a fourth down they went for it, and Lloyd had to bounce it to the outside. It looked like it was designed to go, but what else could possibly be my...
I'm not dealing with you today. Taking a look at the traffic conditions out there, and good news, there really isn't much to speak of. So that's we hope it stays that way. Obviously, we're expecting lighter traffic flow for your Labor Day, and hope that your day goes well. Might see a pop-up scattered storm, 85 for.
I don't think my...
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by
See, this is...
Whatever you got planned today, cancel it. Labor Day savings going on now at Galliana, Chrysler, Jeep on Greystone, and Galliana SC.
No, that's not going to tell me what I need either.
Just go to GallianaSC.com and see for yourself. 2022 Jeep Compass Latitude. Lease for just $289 per month. That's right, a new Jeep for $289 per month. Plus, you can still custom order the exact Jeep you want for just $1 down and $1,000 below MSRP. Don't forget, we'll take any trade-in in any condition. All trade-ins are welcome.
Well, that doesn't tell me it. So clearly, good news for me, Jen. I'm going to have to contact Ed to figure out how to get into the system. That's going to be neat. Yeah, I think Gene Bell, 7 carries for 39 yards. Yeah, Jaheim Bell was solid. They just, yeah, you like y'all said, that was just one of those things on Saturday night where there were times they did all right, I guess, but you know, the bottom line is just overall offensive line really held the team back. Like I said, I won't blame Marcus Satterfield quite as much as some people, just because if y'all remember how bad Spurrier's offenses were early on, it was because they didn't have an offensive line either.
Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This is sponsored by Heisman. Long weekends.
I'm gonna lose my mind on this computer thing here. Yeah, we're just not gonna have audio here this morning. I got bad news. The 7 to 8 a.m. hour, y'all gonna probably need to listen elsewhere, because right now that's probably not gonna work very well for us. Yeah, I don't see anything on this thing.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Bright Red Hot, high protection on. This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out warehouse.
All right. Tell you what, let's also do this. Text Jamie.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game, 1075 The Game.
6:49 on a Labor Day Monday. You can get up this morning, drink a little coffee. Hopefully you've got the day off. If you don't, well, you can go do a little work, come home tonight. Clemson and Georgia Tech. Travis on our live stream asking, is it too early to say go Yellow Jackets tonight? Brian answering with go Yellow Jackets. So, yeah, we'll see. 23.5 is about the spread on that game. Last I saw might be up more. Who knows? I think we're all expecting a thumping handed out to the Yellow Jackets tonight over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This past weekend at Williams-Brice Stadium, South Carolina 35-14 victory over Georgia State, the debut of one Spencer Rattler, and certainly was something that we were all highly anticipating. He was talking about the offense himself. Here's what he had to say. I was trying to give Jen. We got so much audio. 34. Did that make sense? 30. Oh, it's backwards. Yeah, we got so much audio we want to get to this morning. Here's Spencer Rattler talking about the team getting better after this opening game. I mean, you need the confidence from your quarterback, especially in a game like that. 23 of 37, 227 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. You saw some passes that displayed everything that has gotten people excited about Spencer Rattler. Even though he dropped it, there was a dime to Josh Van in the middle of the field on a 3rd and long that should have been caught. Obviously, the play down the sideline to Jalen Brooks was a thing. Jalen Brooks, by the way, we'll get into that at some point this morning. Good grief, what a night from Jalen Brooks, and just a guy that we haven't talked about at all this offseason in terms of being a guy that was going to catch passes. But Jalen Brooks goes out and makes some spectacular catches. You saw the speed with which Rattler could get the ball out to guys like Antoine Wells. So there's a lot of things to like. Now, the 2 interceptions, obviously, that's got to be corrected because those were bad interceptions. Obviously, the one that he threw, I guess, directly to the safety there is one where he had Juju McDowell out in front of him and easily would have picked up the first down, but Rattler wanted to go a little bit further downfield and threw into triple coverage. That's got to be fixed. But it's the kind of performance on Saturday night where I watched it and you saw flashes. You saw the things from Rattler that makes you know he can be an elite level quarterback for South Carolina this year. I also saw stuff that made me wonder, is he necessarily the one and done player that we've talked about? Right? I didn't come out of Saturday night going, oh yeah, this guy has made strides and is going to definitely be a first round pick next year or even a top 2 round pick. There's 11 games, you hope 12, but there's at least 11 left. So we'll see what happens. I think this weekend will be fascinating for him. I didn't think the play calling itself was all that bad. South Carolina had guys that could get open at times, and Rattler either missed them, or he didn't have time to get them the football. Again, I'm not going to be as down on the actual play calling. You hope your offensive line is going to be able to open up holes or protect the quarterback. Rattler did. There was 2 sacks or 1 sack in particular on a corner blitz that he's got to recognize. That one you actually don't really put on the offensive line. South Carolina, I think, was 5 wide in that situation, and Rattler's just got to read it. There was another one that came off of the edge where Rattler missed the outside linebacker creeping up and should have either adjusted protection or switched plays. But he did read some things really well. And again, overall, I would have given him about a C+ for Saturday night for that. There was some things you take away from Spencer Rattler on Saturday night and you go, okay, yeah, I like that. Obviously, there was some things there that you want to see him improve upon. Darren Granger, the quarterback for Georgia State, 7 of 29 on Saturday night, 111 yards, touchdown, interception from him. Georgia State, I figured that this was going to be a little bit more of a challenge than some people maybe anticipated, looking at the scores that were coming in on Friday morning and what people were kind of hoping for or expecting. I really thought Sean Elliott would have his team fired up and ready to go. The game kind of played out like I thought it might. Obviously, there was no way I was going to predict the 2 block kicks there. Not only for the fact that South Carolina blocked 2 punts, but they ran them back for touchdowns for 14 points. But I thought, potentially going into the fourth quarter, it would be a 3 to 7 point ball game, and then South Carolina would score to kind of put the game away. But I thought you were going to get a very spirited effort from Georgia State. And aside from the way the offensive line played, the game kind of played out similar to what I thought. Georgia State hit some big runs. Obviously, out of their 40, they had 40 rushes for 200 yards. And your initial thought is, well, they gave up 200 yards rushing again, but 85 of those rushing yards, 85 out of the 200 came on 2 rushes. Jamias Williams had a 41-yarder and Marcus Carroll with a 44-yarder. So it was 2 rushes that led to 85 yards, 38 rushes for 115 yards. There were some positive things to take away from the defense. We'll get into that more in our number 2. Jamie Bradford expected to join us, and we'll get his take and his breakdown as well as more from what I saw. Again, we'll get into that defense. I think there was things you could be happy about on Saturday night defensively for the Gamecocks. Devontae Reed is a guy who I think has a chance to be really good, and Jordan Birch stepping up. A lot of talk about him. Jordan Birch with 5 tackles on Saturday night, 3 of them solo, was in on a tackle for loss as well. Yeah, there were good things on Saturday night. However, competition rises exponentially this weekend as the Gamecocks travel out to Fayetteville for a noon Eastern kick, 11 a.m. Central Time kick. We'll talk more about that as the week comes along. But next up, Jamie Bradford should be joining us, and we'll talk about what we saw on Saturday night. If you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in on the text line or give us a phone call, 803-404-6100. You're listening to a Labor Day, Monday morning edition of the early game. We'll be back. Jamie Bradford next.
The home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Well, friends, the millions best kept secret is no longer a secret. The secret's out there. Charwood Golf Club is your limit. You must play golf course anywhere. You want pure golf. No pool, no tennis, and no drama. The wood is for you. Not only is Charwood a great golf course, it's home to the 107.5 Game Fall Classic. Charwood is family owned and professionally managed for over 40 years, and from their fast greens to cold beer and good times, Charwood, affectionately known as the Wood, is calling you. Visit them on the web, Charwood.
Hey, South Carolina, Scott here from Tradition. With good news, if you're in the market for an engagement ring or for diamond jewelry, because we have the largest selection you'll see anywhere in the Southeast. And whether you're in the market for a traditional mine diamond or for one of these amazing new lab-grown diamonds, we've got you covered. Because whether you're buying mined or lab, you'll be happy to know that at Tradition, we guarantee the trade-in value of both kinds of diamonds at our store. So if the day comes where you want an even bigger diamond, we'll be happy to give you full value.
Is it supposed to rain today? looks grayish out there.
It's a chance for a thunderstorm this afternoon.
Yeah, Mo Cabo, going back to the stats, flash. Cabo was very good. 4 tackles, 3 solo. Well, thunderstorms possible after 11 a.m. Okay. Yeah, Nick Eamon-Wari was really, to me, a guy that was extremely impressive. I think South Carolina's got something there. He made that big play early on the 4th and short, came up and got the stop. That was a huge play. I think we'll see what happens with RJ Roderick, but it wouldn't surprise me even if RJ Roderick stays healthy if they don't just move Eamon-Wari later on into the starting lineup because he was good. Y'all realize the SEC, granted, Alabama beat Utah State, or I can't even remember who they beat now. Utah State. The SEC went 13-1 this weekend. LSU could have given it a perfect 14-0 weekend. Oh, I didn't look at our picks. What did I write those down on?
The donors out there. It's just amazing. And then you help us and like things you provide for a family like ours. Which is kind of gold at the end of a rainbow. And we're so grateful and thankful for everything.
Vanderbilt covered the 17.5. Am I right on that? Didn't they blow out? No, they didn't. I think they only won by 11.
It's Reaction Monday. Got thoughts about the game? Call or text us at 404-6100. Hit us up on Twitter at 1075 The Game. You're on the game. On the game.
All right, I'll give Jamie a call and see what's up.
He just text. Hey, he just text. He's good.
Okay, good.
All right. Unfortunately, because of this computer situation, you will not hear Jamie Bradford. So if you want to comment on the live stream, you may want to pull up the go to 1075 our webpage and listen, because unfortunately right now this little issue that popped up on Friday, and of course I was in Atlanta on Friday, but we'll make it work. We'll figure it out. I'll get it fixed today.
Hey, Jamie, thanks so much for joining us today. We are good. People are
803-404-6100 rolling along on your Labor Day Monday. Jamie Bradford set to hop on in here in just a second. We'll get his reactions from the weekend as well as South Carolina 35-14 victory over Georgia State. I tell you what, the other games out there, it was. I don't know where we ranked the overall weekend. Again, there were some good games.
Let them know you are.
Some solid games there. Obviously, North Carolina, Appalachian State, and North Carolina State, East Carolina. Didn't really bring it up there, I guess, because it was Friday night. But Old Dominion knocking off Virginia Tech. Not good for Brent Pry and Virginia Tech. Not a way to start off that particular era. William and Mary thumping Charlotte also on Friday night. I only mentioned that one because Charlotte, again, obviously an opponent of South Carolina coming up in a couple weeks. But going into Saturday, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Good game, 21-10. Ohio State covers, Notre Dame covers the spread. Real quick before I get to Jamie, just looking at our picks, it looks like Patrick went 2-3, and I was looking to see if he got his lock. He had his lock of the week was Vanderbilt. I wrote down 17.5 for that. I know Vanderbilt won. They beat Elon, but I don't know if they covered the 17.5. I was not glued to that one quite like maybe some of you were, or certainly as Patrick was. Vanderbilt won 42-31. Their offense is explosive. So he missed that one. I missed LSU as my lock of the week, but I did go 3-2. So how about that? I got a lead on Patrick to start the season. If you want to weigh in with a question this morning, we'll certainly discuss it. 803-404. Joining me, 803-404-6100. Joining me now, Jamie Bradford, to talk a little bit about what he saw on Saturday night. And Jamie, the good was, oh man, the atmosphere. The atmosphere was unlike anything. I put that it was Georgia State, not Georgia. That atmosphere was every bit as good with the Georgia atmosphere of 2012, I believe, when it was absolutely insane at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Yeah, happy Labor Day, everybody. Anybody that is actually awake with us right now. So it was neat to see. That was really cool. Everything that the administration, the university, those guys, what they've been able to put together just to enhance the experience is well worth it. If you weren't there, hopefully you can get to a ball game and be able to check it out. I know obviously it's going to be different at night now versus the day with the lights and all that type of stuff, but just the videos and all that. It was great. It was great. And I know we're going to talk a lot about the game, but at the end of the day, they still were able to pull away and win by 21 points. So all in all, a good game one experience for Gamecock football.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to tell anybody to be like thrilled with the victory, but I've walked, Jamie, you've done the same. I've walked out of that stadium after I lost to Citadel. I've walked out of that stadium after I lost to Appalachian State. I've walked out after some beatings at the hands of SEC opponents. I'm not going to be upset walking out when South Carolina is 1-0, even if they have a lot to improve on. You try to enjoy it, but you take it in. And let's start with the bad here. The offensive line, you and I talked about that last week. They needed to come out and they needed to show us something. They needed to show that this was fully, they were ready to take a step forward this year. I don't know where to place blame on this. I don't know if it's strength and conditioning. I don't know if it's bad scheme. I don't know if it's just bad, questionable talent. I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here and portray myself as an offensive coordinator, but I'll just go ahead and throw out my quick opinion on this. And I base my opinion on the opinions of those who are much smarter than I. It's scheme. 4 of those 5 starters, Bill, do you realize that 4 of those 5 starters started in 2020 when Kevin Harris ran for 1,200 yards? You know that? Nichols, Douglas, Lee, Wilman all started in that Tennessee game 2 years ago. And the guy ran for 1,200 yards. And we got Marshawn Lloyd, who is lightning. He can't run for 40 yards against Georgia State. I get it. Give Georgia State credit. But Georgia's coming up. Arkansas is coming up. I mean, we ran the football fine 2 years ago with the same guys. Why can't we run the football? And it's that is frustrating. And that has been the cautious optimism, I think, throughout the off season for fans, and I understand that. I've said the same thing. Hey, I get it. We're excited. This team should be better. Spencer Rattler, you name all these players, but can we run the football? Like, is our offensive line good? And all that ties back into what is the scheme? We saw the inconsistency last year. It's got to be better if we want to take the next step. And so far, it's not. They won, and they won by 3 touchdowns, and we'll get into all the good. I get that. But that left a lot to be desired. Unfortunately, on Saturday night, they got to get it cleaned up. Hopefully, they have a plan, and that would be much further along going into game 2 than where they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the storyline. Shane, again, meeting with the media last night. He'll meet again tomorrow at 1:30 for his usual press conference. He'll do Carolina calls of 6 to 7 o'clock. You can hear right here on 107.5 The Game. And that's going to be the discussion all week, right? Like, that's going to be what people want to find out about. How does this get improved? And the scary thing on that, kind of to go back to your point, I believe the longest rush of the night is one that didn't count. That was a Spencer Rattler jog out of the backfield that there was then a holding call on. So I guess that could have led to why it was the longest rush of the night. But you didn't see anything like that. I'm trying to go back and just look if there was anything that went over 10 yards. And there were times that, quite simply, Marshawn Lloyd got hit before he could even get out of the backfield. Yeah, Bell and Lloyd both had at least 13-yard runs, so barely over. But that's your concern, is that there were times that Bell, Lloyd, McDowell, they were getting the handoff and being hit before they could fully get the football.
Dude, every time the ball was snapped. I mean, even Rattler is back there when they're actually throwing the football, trying to figure out why is this guy once again running right at me and nobody's even put a fingertip on him? I mean, it's the scheme. I don't like it. I'm just going to be honest. You know, I support that and Coach Beamer and those guys, and they've forgotten more football than I know. But I don't like it. I don't like horizontal blocking schemes the way that they're doing this. I mean, it's got to get cleaned up, Bill. You've been around the SEC for your entire life. Most of us have. You can't win in this league unless you can consistently run the football. Period. The end. Like, there's no other conversation to be had about it. Like, if you can't say, I'm going to line up and run the football, you can't win in the SEC. The gimmicks don't work. You've got to have some different flavor in there. You got to be able to throw the football. You got to be able to keep guys off balance and have, I don't want to call them trick plays, but have diversity in your offense and stuff like that. I get it. You have to also be able to run the football and protect the quarterback. And you know, hopefully that gets better. I'm not going to discount them. I'm not going to say that South Carolina's just going to all of a sudden go out and get blown out at Arkansas. I don't think that's going to happen. Actually, I don't think at all that that's going to happen. But it's just left a lot to be desired after game one because you wait for months. And, you know, I've heard a lot of really good things about this offense getting itself cleaned up and moving in the right direction. And then here we are, we're watching it, and I'm like, just like you just said, how come every time they're about to hand the football to Marshawn Boyd, he's got three people within a yard of him that he has to figure out how to get around who haven't been touched once again? Like, this problem has not been fixed. But again, hopefully they got a plan to fix it.
Yeah, I don't know if Dave, if you're saying scheme, to me, I still, there's some of it, and I'm with you on the horizontal blocking aspect of it. What concerns me is that South Carolina didn't seem to even, another part of this, by the way, the offensive line wasn't good, but it was a complete group effort on the blocking. Wide receivers stunk. Tight ends weren't particularly good. That was the other part to me. And Luke Day is certainly a guy that, is very likable and I think is fantastic for this football team. But the way that the wide receivers got beat on blocks as well was concerning. And that's why I was even surprised just with the offensive line that they weren't able to line up and go mano a mano and just shove somebody backwards for a few yards. Just knock Georgia State off of the ball, even if it's a horizontal blocking scheme. That to me is just as big a concern. And it makes me wonder about the strength of this football team because you're about to play two teams that are ultra physical in Arkansas and Georgia. And their goal is to push you into the dirt on each and every play. And if you strength-wise cannot match up with them, those are going to be ugly experiences.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not going as far as to, challenge the strength and conditioning and things like that based on what I've heard, right? So, but again, I'm not saying you're wrong either. And then we're tiptoeing this fine line here of week one stuff. I mean, the thing that backs up our week one concerns is the fact that our week one concerns are the same concerns we had for 12 games last year. We didn't have the concerns in the bowl game, but the other ones, you never knew what to expect. But I mean, when you look around the country, I mean, Kentucky this weekend, they played Miami of Ohio, and they ran for about 50 yards, on the ground. And Kentucky's a football team that has prided themselves on running the football. Now, mind you, that was without Chris Rodriguez. So it is week one, and you do have to give some flexibility to these guys. I mean, I think that Shane, and to your point, I think Shane Saturday night said it, and he said it again yesterday. Like, hey, it wasn't just the guys up front. All of us didn't do very well collectively. But, Bill, I like the defense better than I liked the defense last year. The special teams is outstanding. I'm sure we're going to get to that. In week one, they looked, to me, very improved. But the offense didn't. So, I mean, it's hard not to question it until you see the improvement, and I just don't think we've seen it.
Yeah, there were positives on Saturday night. I'm with you. We certainly should discuss those and highlight some things. I have not talked too much defense, but the problem is people understand that this team could be a better football team this year, but with the schedule, maybe the record doesn't indicate a better football team. You watch that performance on Saturday night from the offensive line, you go, wait a minute, I don't know if this is a better team. But there were aspects to be excited about. A freshman defensive back that I loved, or actually the safety play, by the way, I was a big fan of. I don't think Devontae Reed and Nick Eamon-Morey have gotten enough credit on message boards and Twitter for their performance. We'll talk about that. We'll get into that special teams play. Mitch Jeter, again, 250-yard field goals. You can't complain about that. And Kai Kroger, who I guess was injured all preseason, comes out and bangs about a 79-yard punt and flips the field. So he's healthy. So there were positives, and certainly want to talk a little bit more in depth about the debut of Spencer Rattler. We've got you for the whole hour. Look forward to you hanging around. Hope you got a cup of coffee, and we will continue on. It's Bill Gunner, Jamie Bradford, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hayes Pearson and coming up on the Monday Extra Point. We'll talk about several football games. Real football games. 9 o'clock.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Purchasing a brand new vehicle,
or even a certified pre-owned vehicle. It should be a great experience because it's exciting. You've heard me talk about this more and more the last few weeks because in this day and age, getting out and purchasing something, spending a lot of money, it can cause a lot of tension in the family, it can cause stress. It doesn't have to be that way. The folks that love Chevrolet, they remember what it's like to make it a fun event, make it exciting for the family. And that's why they've been taking care of family members here for over 60 years in the Midlands by doing it the right way, not pressuring you, not hassling you, answering your questions. Shoot, you get a cookie when you walk in if you go over to the left. There's a massage chair there. Purchasing a car from Love Chevrolet is a lot of fun. The kids will love it. You'll love it. You'll drive away happy and satisfied. One, because they're going to treat you the right way. Two, because they've got the largest selection of vehicles anywhere in the Midlands, over 14 acres of vehicles from which to choose with. And three, because you know you're getting the lowest price possible, the $1,000 low price guarantee. Go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, where family means something out there. They know what it's like. They've taken care of families for over 60 years here in the Midlands. They're going to continue to do it. Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Clear out of the highways this morning, and your forecast for today, not going to be too bad, but we could see some pop-up showers this afternoon sometime after lunch. High today of 85, 92 for the high tomorrow, 91 on Wednesday. Really between 4 and 6 showers.
I feel like you might have said it was 38 to 10, but I can't. Yeah, I don't remember. I was trying to recover.
The Savannah Bananas are leaving the Coastal Plain League to play banana ball full-time all across the country. This unorthodox brand of baseball speeds up the game with such rules as calling foul balls caught by fans is out. By shifting from college players to professionals, the entertainment-oriented Bananas could become baseball's version of the Harlem Club Drive.
Did you pick 35? Good job. Good job, guys. All right, yeah. Robin going with the right prediction. Trey was a point off. Excellent work. There you go. Go get that. Go work out that Sunday night meal. Go get that Sunday. Get that Monday morning workout in. Whew. Let's see here. Jen, when we come back, let's come in with 15. Georgia State offense versus South Carolina defense. Just play it straight out of the break there.
10-4.
Oh, yeah. It's looking like an overcast day. Get back home and take a nap.
Yeah, Saturday night was ridiculously late because at one point it's like, is this game going to last for 6 hours, 7 hours? It just seemed like it was dragging after a while. Just was long.
Yeah, it was just a long day. A long way. I tried to time it out where we didn't go out. It was just Austin and I where we didn't go out too late. And he tailgated, and boy, he made the most of it. He looked like what is it, Pigpen?
Oh gosh.
He was about as dirty as you could get. He's out there rolling around in the grass and tackling other kids.
Good times. I love it.
They've adjusted our soccer schedule a little bit. That might be the only game I go to. I guess I'll go ahead and plug in the computer.
or 803-875-BENZ. For the real story behind some of wrestling's biggest moments, it's Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson, too. All-time Hogan opponents, my
I'd give Rattler a C plus. He did good. He did good, but he missed some guys. He had some guys running open, but then again, when you get the snap, and sometimes basically by the time you have the snap, a guy's breathing down your neck. Maybe you're gonna miss some guys. Atmosphere though was incredible. Atmosphere was absolutely incredible. Still kind of recovering because we didn't get in until 1:00. The fun of doing sports talk radio. I think everybody else is off. Jen and I are the only two here in the entire, maybe an entire building, and the security guard.
Well, and you know what? When I was telling Bill this morning, when I walked in, even the lights in the lobby were not on. And I know that the regular gal who comes in at 7, security guard, she said she was not going to be in today. So I thought, well, maybe no security this weekend because it was completely dark. And I come in the studio, and about a minute or so later, I hear something, and there's this dude standing outside my window. And I'm like, what the? I had to apologize to him for, blessing him out. But it's like, dude, turn the light on if you're doing rounds. Don't scare me like that. Good thing I wasn't packing heat.
All right, yeah, play that.
Just easing it in the music. You can see the countdown, right? All right, Tanya.
Shane Beamer on Saturday night talking about the defense. Jamie Bradford joining us this morning. If you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100. And Jamie, Jemias Williams, the second carry of the ball game, goes for 41 yards. 41 yards. After that, it's 39 carries for 159 yards. By and large, South Carolina figured it out. Darren Granger couldn't throw. 7 of 29 for 111 yards, touchdown, interception. I don't know what happened on that touchdown, how that guy got so open, by the way. But they slowed him down. Clayton White figured it out early on. And Jordan Birch, a guy that was talked about, steps up with a solid night there at defensive end. 5 tackles for him. Love the play of Devontae Reed coming into the box and putting a helmet on people. And I really like Debo Williams looked real good too. You can really point to a lot of defensive players Saturday night that I thought made steps forward from a year ago. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we know.
This season, Bill, he's going to sink or swim, right? I mean, he's kind of the dude who was like it was going to be Cam and it was going to be Darius Rush, and I really enjoy watching Darius Rush play football. Marcellus Dial, I don't want to call him the odd man out, but he is now the guy that they moved Cam, so he's going to have to sink or swim. I think he's going to swim. I do. The more that they target him, the more opportunities he's going to have, the more his confidence is going to grow. And I don't see any way that they would have moved Cam to nickel if they didn't have a lot of faith in him. So I like those guys. I like what they're doing in the secondary. They're picking up where they left off last year, one of the best passing defenses in the country. And they're going to have to be pretty good this league of fable because we know that KJ Jefferson, he can throw it.
Yeah, poor Marcellus Dial. He was a good teaching. I'll say a good teaching point for my son on Saturday night because poor Marcellus Dial, the first touchdown for Georgia State, he gets beat by Jamari Thrash for 28 yards down the field. The next one, he gets a face mask. He gets beat and he gives up a face mask penalty as well, and that led to the Georgia State first touchdown to cut it to 9-7. But he bounced back and had a couple plays late there that I think show what exactly you're talking about, that they can count on him. And he stepped up last year. We'll see if one of those freshmen battle him for a starting position. But the freshman, you're right, Nick Eamon-Wari on Saturday night comes in, has to come in within the first 3 plays, I think maybe the 4th play, after R.J. Roderick gets injured. I'm impressed with him. And if R.J. Roderick is healthy, I think you've got a battle there to play alongside Devontae Reed, who, again, looks like a guy who is going to fit nicely in Jalen Foster's shoes.
Yep, I agree. And, with Eamon-Wari, I think that it's important to understand, like, we should all understand, he's going to have a freshman moment. It's going to happen. If you're a freshman ever in the history of football, right, Bill, and you've played in the secondary, especially in this league, you're going to get picked on. You're going to have a bad play. You might have bad series. You might have bad games. It's just going to happen. And then the good ones always learn from that. So we just have to keep that in mind. But overall, when you watch him play, I think the word that I've been using, I've been trying to find another word, but I keep going back to this one, is confidence. Like, he plays with confidence. He's got a little bit of that DJ Swearinger type confidence. Like, don't misunderstand me, I'm not comparing him to DJ Swearinger, but he's got that confidence where he understands, like, hey, I'm supposed to be here. These lights don't bother me. These 80,000 people, that doesn't bother me. I'm supposed to be here. And if he's that confident after one game, 4 quarters, yeah, he's got a chance. He's got a chance to be pretty good.
A couple other individual performances that really stood out to me. Mo Kaba certainly was a. People forget, Jamie, about Mo Kaba being a 4-star linebacker and a big recruiting victory for the Will Muschamp staff, getting him out of North Carolina, getting away from NC State. And that was a guy that Saturday night, 4 total tackles, 3 solo, had a pass deflection as well. Certainly a very good debut as the starting middle linebacker. And I'm starting to feel pretty good about this linebacking group with Clayton White. Sherrod Green didn't play on Saturday night, and there might be some questions there. Maybe it's just an injury. But Kaba, Debo Williams was all over the field. He is a missile back there at linebacker, and I think some of it's still continuing to rein him in. Stone Blanton played a little bit. Brad Johnson's really, really good against the run and had 5 solo tackles on Saturday night and 1 quarterback hurry. I feel like this linebacking group is going to be a little bit better than what we maybe anticipated.
Right? No, I'm with you. Absolutely. And I think that was do you think that was a lot of the problem last year? I know everybody blamed the defensive line and stopping the run. Like, that was the one flaw on the resume, right? But a lot of people kind of blame just the defensive line. We got to do. I thought a lot of the issues last season in stopping the run, I thought a lot of that had to do with the linebackers. Did you?
You know, I hate to, for a lot of different reasons, we don't want to knock Damani Staley. And he had a great interception against East Carolina. He played with a lot of heart. Athletically, though, Staley was, you got to be a little bit better at that position. And South Carolina athletically has upgraded with Mo Kaba being fully confident in that knee, being fully back. Debo Williams now a year under his belt. We'll see what happens with Sherrod Green. Yeah, I think you've got guys there now that are a little bit more SEC caliber. And you hate to say that because Staley did everything, yes, right? And we're talking about a guy who still is an incredible athlete, just, you know, in the SEC, different caliber, different level of athletes. And I think that, to me, was a major difference. Now, we'll find out this weekend. You're going to find out. We're going to come in here. We might be having a totally different conversation on Monday after the Arkansas game where both of us are going, oh, those linebackers, we got to get a lot better, you know, quickly. But at least after Georgia State, I like what I see. And again, I'm very excited about a Debo Williams who I think people forget about because of Stone Blanton and Donovan Westmoreland and Mo Kaba stepping up. Debo Williams looked very good on Saturday night and has speed and just seems to be in the right place at the right time.
No, yeah, I'm with you, and I agree, because it drove me insane in 21 when people would criticize Damani Staley. I'm like, look, this young man has given it everything he's got. He's in a tough spot here. He was just limited on what he could do from a physical standpoint, Bill. He wasn't, from day one, he wasn't a starter in the SEC who was supposed to be starting in the SEC for 12 games. You know, he was a guy who should just be blessed. So I'm with you, like, criticizing him was not fair or anything like that. But you said what you saw on Saturday. You could look and see it. And you didn't have to really understand football. Like, you could actually look out there and see SEC linebackers on the field. And I'm with you there. And as long as fundamentally, you know, they continue to improve and stay sound, and they've got great coaches, there's no doubt about that. I like this group, and I think that they'll fit in really well and really nicely. And I like the guys up front. Jordan Birch, as long as he stays healthy, should just continue to roll throughout the season. He should continue to get better. Zach Pickens should have a big. I mean, the defense, fine. We haven't gotten to the special teams yet, and we're going to get there. And but again, you know, 35-14 looks good. We know where the points came from. We know what was good, and we know what wasn't so good.
803-404-6100. Jamie Bradford joining us this morning as he does each and every morning. I'm Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007. And on November 12, 1075, the game went on the air. And since then, we have celebrated with you 2 College
My
World
hand
Series
dropped in the
titles.
All right, here. Yeah, they're learning, that's for sure. I mean, I think Van's fine. I think he's a little more cautious than I would particularly care for him to be. But then again, don't make mistakes, right? Get the ball back. I don't know. Maybe our Marion Brown doesn't catch it quite as well. Do that when we come back. Let's play. I tell you what, play 4 coming in, and I'll give away the Firefly tickets, and we'll roll on. You just play like we did last time. Just 4 straight out of the number 4. There, 2 blocked punts. It's really quiet in here. I feel like I hear a clock ticking. I'm sitting here. I hear a clock ticking. There's a clock right there. Something out of like Edgar Allan Poe. Like I could hear a clock ticking, and I kept like looking around, like what is going on in the studio? It's quiet in here. Oh man.
So I've been turning the speaker up so that Jamie can be
Making-
heard through the live stream. Is anybody hearing that? Is it helping or not helping?
Flash said or Brian said he said got it now a little while ago, so I'm guessing that's helped. At least
Okay.
just a little bit.
Yeah, trying.
I'm guessing that's helped just a little.
All right. Come back at 4.
All right.
It's what Beamer's talking about.
Too, but it was we spent a lot of time on that, on special teams, and not just that, but all phases. And we worked the heck out of teaching our guys how to block punts, and you saw us execute it tonight, and that's got to continue to be a weapon for us. I felt it had been a point of emphasis for us. If we did some really good things on special teams last year, but I didn't think we were very good. We call it punt pressure because we always want to put pressure on the punter, whether it's a return or a block. We didn't have a great punt pressure, punt return unit last year. If you look at it statistically, I felt like we left a lot of plays out there. So it's really been a point of emphasis. The return game, Josh had some nice returns tonight, 3 for 33 yards along with 18, and then obviously blocking the punt also. Punts.
Jamie, we talk about Beamer ball. I put out the tweet, and I love when I get reactions on Twitter from the people with like 3 and 4 and 5 followers. That Beamer family special teams is greater than Manning family quarterback play. But I mean, I don't know if the block punts stand out, but Mitch Jeter hits 2 50-yard field goals. Kai Kroger booms a 79-yard punt. The Gamecocks do pretty good in coverage on their other punts. I just all around on Saturday night. Unfortunately, you had the weird one high snap. They fake a field goal. We forget about that. They fake a field goal and pick it up. This is Frank Beamer, Beamer ball-esque type football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's and it's year 2, right, with Pete Limbo and Shane Beamer kind of overseeing this. So you knew last year that special teams was going to be better, but now you've got 2 straight years under the same. I don't know. Do you call special teams a system? I don't know what you call that. I don't know. But my point is, you've got the same voice in special teams, a really, really good one in Pete Limbo, obviously alongside Shane Beamer, that are kind of working those things out, and you expect them to be good. I don't know though that you expect them to be that good. I mentioned Coach Fink's game notes that'll come out tomorrow. I wonder if this would be in there. Have we ever had a game where a field goal kicker hit 2 50-plus yarders and our punter booted one over 70? I don't think we've ever had one, have we?
No, I mean, in terms of this might go down. Nobody tracks this kind of stuff. Good luck, Steve Fink. This might go down as the greatest special teams game of all time for South Carolina. I mean, I don't even know how to quantify that. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I don't know what would be better. I don't like. I guess you throw in some kind of return kick for. Even then. I just as you were saying that I don't know what quantifies the best special teams game ever, but you've got a 79-yard punt. You've got you got two field goals over 50 yards. You block two and return them back for kicks. I mean, I'm not, I saw some people saying, well, if it wasn't for special teams, you don't win the game. Well, the offense did have to get the field goal unit into position to kick those field goals. So do give the offense a little bit of credit for the field goals. But yeah, the fake field goal that was a wild. That was also kind of a bad snap. Did that catch you a little off guard early on? Because I had my 10-year-old son with me, and so he's getting to the age where I can discuss X's and O's with him a little bit. And so we were kind of getting, I was like, well, you could go for it here because you could keep the crowd really into it. Or this is a really short field goal and you give your field goal kicker a chance to gain some confidence and then they fake it and he's looking at me going, no, that's the play, Dad. That's the one you call right there. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I give these away going to the break. Can you handle it?
Forget the field goals. Let's just throw in some trickery. I don't know. So I think what Shane Beamer has told people now through 14 games as a head coach, if it's 4th and 2 or 3 and, you think you might know what they're going to do.
Weird. Okay. Yep, I'm glad you called back. Okay, hold on.
But they might be aggressive. They might take the points. They might call an audible. Who knows what's going to happen because for the last 14 games, anytime we've tried to figure that out, it's been pretty much polar opposite.
It worked. Whatever it was, it worked. And now Arkansas, that's something Arkansas will now have to be prepared for. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with this for the remainder of the season. But yeah, I think maybe Steve will do a little research. Steve Fink will do a little research, see if we can quantify top special teams games all time at South Carolina. There have been great moments, but boy, when you perform the way they did on Saturday night, we'll quantify that as the best special teams game ever. We'll keep talking about that. It was an interesting weekend. Have not discussed last night's game, LSU and Florida State. Jamie, yeah, exactly. That's how you describe that. We'll do that. Also, have not had a chance to talk about the retirement ceremony for Jadeveon Clowney. That was something as well. Fun to see him back. So Jamie says he can hang around a little bit longer. I'm not going to kick him out of here. We're having a good time and a lot to get to this morning. So he's going to hang around a little after 8 o'clock as well. It's Bill Gunner, it's Jamie Bradford, it's Jen Jensen. You're listening to the early game on 107.5. Hold on. I forgot.
Keeping an eye on you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah. No, we got to give away Firefly tickets, Jamie. I forget to give away tickets often. I forgot. So 803-404-6100. We got a pair of Firefly tickets to the Charleston River Dogs. I think that's their hated rival tomorrow night. 4 tickets. Miller Lite Tuesday. You can get $2 hot dogs, popcorn, fountain sodas, 12-ounce cans of Miller Lite, $2. Promotion tomorrow night. Miller Lite $2 Tuesdays. 803-404-6100. We'll take caller number 5 right now for a family 4-pack of tickets to the Fireflies River Dogs over at Central Park. 803-404-6100. Call right now to win those, and we will be back in just a second.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
The Game, caller number 1. 107.5 The Game, caller number 2. 107.5 The Game, caller number 3.
The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
No accidents to report, no major slowdowns to speak of, and we're looking for decent conditions today. Scattered clouds, but we'll also see some scattered storms. 85 for the high. That'll be coming in a little bit afternoon. And then 92 for the high tomorrow, 91 on Wednesday. Isolated storms really both days. 76
this
right
at?
now
Is this at
at
the game?
107.5 the game.
My Staples stores. Staples
Or
Credit
is
Marketing
this
Services.
tailgating this year? What do you?
175 the game, calling number 4. 175 the game. You're calling number 5. What's your name?
When you spend $50 or more.
Hey, Richard. Let me get some info. Good. How are you doing? Good. All right. Let me get some info from you just a second.
Excellent. Does Tuesday 9 a.m. work?
All right.
Mornings are when I go to Taco Bell to get my bacon breakfast quesadilla. Okay. Yeah, I really don't like missing out on those fluffy eggs and crispy bacon covered in
Okay.
melty cheese.
Richard, and then is it green? Is it with an E at the end or just green like the color? Okay.
Only at Taco Bell.
All right. And
They have really? I didn't know this. They have
do you have a phone that they can text to? Okay. What is that number?
I didn't know you could sell that kind of stuff. I thought it was maybe it's considered wine. Is that?
Sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are.
Sometimes
maybe
they'll,
it's considered a wine.
I'm not sure if they email tickets or if they
not a
text
liquor
them,
drink.
so I
Would that seem right?
options. Do you have an email address?
I didn't know you could sell liquor in the stadium, or maybe I'm just wrong. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
It was a part of the
right.
wine. Huh, interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. I had no idea.
Okay. Somebody will be reaching out to you, I assume today, if not definitely by tomorrow morning, but they might go ahead and do it today. And it's 4 tickets for the Fireflies for tomorrow night. And the time game is 7:05. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Hey, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye. Bye.
Gamecock fans, are you ready? New for 2022, we have Legacy Headwear, Columbia Sportswear, shirts, hats, and jackets. Ladies, if you felt left out in the past, feel that way no more. Gamecock Traditions is focused on getting you the latest styling.
Do 12 coming back in.
Looking for kid stuff, infant, toddler,
Do 12.
this year at Gamecock Traditions. So come by today. Gamecock Traditions and Gamecock
Troy. Troy, I'm inviting you. I will pay for your beer to teach you how to gamble. What did Brian take? Brian took oh, I know. I can look it up. Let's see how Brian did. He hit Pittsburgh. He hit Arkansas. He went 2-2, and he lost his money line parlay. So he went 2-2. He lost NC State and he lost LSU, but he hit Pittsburgh and he hit Arkansas. But he lost his money line parlay because Boston College somehow got beat by Rutgers as a 9-point favorite without Rutgers starting quarterback, running back, and top wide receiver. I thought Boston College was supposed to be good. The ACC is awful at football, even though Florida State won. How did Boston College lose to Rutgers? Virginia Tech loses to Old Dominion. Thank goodness Florida State won. I'm picking with you too, Troy. I'm just picking with you. I hope you know that. I hope you know I'm not being serious. Honorary it. I'm honorary it. 7:52 on a morning. All right, we're back. What'd I say, Jen? Number 12. Number 12 coming back in. Number 12.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to thank our fans. What an awesome night it was in Williams-Brice. It was great to be back together as a Gamecock family, starting with the walk and then the atmosphere throughout the game. So a big thanks to them. They were a difference tonight. We knew, Georgia State had some success on the road against SEC teams, Tennessee a few years ago, Auburn last year, but those games weren't Williams-Brice Stadium at night, and that's a whole different level of stadium. So it was appreciate them. And then you're right. I mean, there was a lot of good tonight. Certainly.
Jamie said he lost the feed. I don't know if doing that phone call. Let's see if he's
compete for the Sun Belt Championship. That was
so can you hear me?
Seniors. That was a good win to win by 3 touchdowns.
He's going to hang up and call back.
Big plays. Obviously, we got a lot to improve on. you do that between week 1 and week 2, and we got to coach better and play better. But we're going to really enjoy this one and learn from it and get ready to go again next week.
Shane Beamer there talking about the atmosphere on Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium, and it was something to behold. I've not seen Williams-Brice Stadium like that in some time. Certainly, the excitement for this season is what you want in a program. You want this for South Carolina. You need it for recruiting. You need it for donations. Everything that goes into running a football program these days, you need that. And South Carolina had all of it on Saturday night. The Jadeveon Clowney ceremony.
I don't know.
You get caught up in the moment, and you get a little caught up in the moment. And I'll admit,
Here, I'll lend my ear back.
I think Connor Shaw maybe could have been honored. Jamie, maybe Connor Shaw is the guy that we say could have been honored before Clowney. Maybe Alshon Jeffrey. I don't know, but I got caught up in the moment with Clowney, and they showed the video of him picking South Carolina, and they're playing Kanye West. They're blaring the speakers. By the way, I had no problem with. I know some people were complaining, but the speakers I thought were very good. They're blaring Kanye West. They're showing the Clowney hits, throwing around Aaron Murray like a rag doll, and you just went, man, I forgot how in college how dominant that dude was each and every Saturday.
Gamecock fans because of Jadeveon. I mean, it's a lot of the people that are like demand the Gamecocks win 10 games a year because that's what we do. Well, they didn't know what we did before. Jadeveon Clowney didn't win a lot. We didn't win 10 games a year a lot around here. He changed. I think he changed a lot for this program. I think he changed the expectations. I think he changed it from a swag standpoint. Him and Swearinger and those guys. I think that was. You're right. You could debate a handful of names at most of guys who either maybe deserve to be up there before him or deserve to be up there alongside him. But I'm not interested in that conversation. I am much more interested in the fact that everybody in the country would do anything that they could possibly do, legal or illegal, to get Jadeveon Clowney, and we got him, and he's a Gamecock forever. And it was so neat to see him honored. Because Bill, have you seen him? That's the first time he went to the NFL. I haven't seen him back. Have you?
I think I've seen him once or twice. I feel like there was maybe a game, but I might be misremembering things. I just feel like I have, but I could be wrong on that if it wasn't like that. And by the way, we South Carolina gets criticized so a lot. The easiest thing is for people to sit around, you should have let him speak, or you should have had a better video, or I thought they knocked it out the park with the ceremony. Like him being able to address the crowd, him being the starter, like the Gamecock chant starter, everything they did. Kudos to Eric Nichols. Kudos to Ray Tanner. They don't coach the football game. They get everything lined up, Jamie, and those guys deserve A+ for that stadium, the atmosphere, the marketing, everything that happened on their side of the game Saturday night.
Yep, no doubt. It was a win on the field. It was a win off the field last night for Eric and Chance and Coach Tanner and all the guys in the administration, too.
Jamie will stick with us for another couple segments here. We want to get into some other games that occurred over the weekend, continue talking about South Carolina and the 35-14 victory tonight. Georgia Tech and Clemson. Oh, Georgia Tech. Not really the way to end a great weekend, but it's football. We'll take it. It's officially football season. You're listening to Jamie Bradford, Bill Gunner, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game. 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary, Columbia Sports Talk Station, sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
WNKT FM, East Over Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
Ambulance Media Station.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a hole in your roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation.
Do we need to do anything aside from the promo? I don't think we need anything.
356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State Roofing system are tops in the industry.
All right, get ready.
Especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building,
Let me make sure this guy's name is Drew Barrett. I think from Arkansas.
It's either Drew Gilbert or Barrett. Yeah, Drew Barrett.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Coming up on the Tuesday morning edition of the early game, we continue recapping Saturday night's Gamecock victory over Georgia State. And to help us do that, J.C. Sherbert will be along from 7 to 8 a.m. And Drew Barrett will give us a breakdown from ESPN Arkansas on what you can expect from the Razorbacks. Along the way, Jen, at some point, we've got to get into what happened at the Cookout Southern 500. All this football talk, there was a big race over the weekend. So there is lots of sports talk. If you hated us during the summer when we goofed off about stuff, boy, are we going to make you happy this week. Lots to talk about tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. I need to see what we can. All right. Yeah, we'll certainly discuss that. (8:02) on a Labor Day Monday morning. If you're heading into work, if you're at work, if you're just up enjoying your coffee, welcome in. Jamie Bradford hanging around for a little bit longer with us, and we have played very well this morning, but I don't know how I forgot about the quote of the weekend, and I was looking for the audio. I was looking for the audio to see if I could send it to Jen. Jamie, what was it? The halftime quote from Brian Kelly last night. We can't play any worse than that. I don't think. It's my first game. Maybe we can. I like Brian Kelly. He's grown on me. I wasn't sure I can't say that I was like a huge fan of it at Notre Dame, but he's embraced everything about LSU. I think he's going to be fun in the SEC. I think he's going to be successful. Last night, they obviously they lose the game as LSU has their field goal attempt, their extra point attempt blocked there at the very end of the game. They'll be fine this year. Maybe Florida State. What did you take away from that game last night? LSU and Florida State. For those that don't know, real quick, because it was late. Florida State's up 24-10. LSU goes down and scores to make it 24-17 with 5 minutes to go. LSU gets a stop. Florida State punts. The LSU wide receiver, or excuse me, the LSU returner fumbles the punt. What, at about the 10, Jamie? Is that right? Yeah, about the 10. Florida State recovers it. They're going to score. It's 3rd and goal. They run a pitch play, which everybody kind of questioned. Yeah, they pitch it. Florida State fumbles. LSU recovers. They go 97 yards in about a minute and 17 seconds. Jaden Daniels looking like the quarterback he was as a freshman at Arizona State. They score on the final play of the game, 1 second left. There was an issue with a review, and a guy, was he out of bounds? Was he not out of bounds? LSU scores. And then Florida State blocks the extra point. Did you go get yourself something to drink, expecting you were about to watch a fun, wild overtime game, only to come back and miss the blocked extra point? If you can unmute yourself that way, I don't know if they can on the live stream.
That's why LSU lost.
Special teams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for everybody to, granted, Florida State looked better. I'm unsure what Florida State is right now. I think LSU's good. I'm just not sure what Florida State. When I say LSU's good, Jamie, I don't mean that LSU is going to win the West this year or challenge for a national title. But I think they're an 8 or 9 win team, and this was a barometer for Florida State to see if the Seminoles are, let's not use the word back, but if the Seminoles are ready to start taking steps in the right direction and not being a doormat anymore.
Yeah, let's start with LSU. I don't know that I agree with you just yet. I don't know that they're good, Bill. I think that they will get better. But and these are all week 1 reactions. I mean, they're going to change, right? But when you look at what they have, especially the back half of it, when they've got Bama, they got a good Arkansas, they have to go to A&M. It's hard to think that they're going to win any of those games at this point in time. That can change. All of a sudden, that Florida trip looks a little more interesting than it did, maybe just a couple of days ago. And then you got a bunch of coin tosses in there. You got Mississippi State, you got Auburn, you got Tennessee, you got Ole Miss. I mean, based on what you saw last night with Florida State, if any of those teams are comparable to the Noles, you just don't know. So, but I do think that they'll get better. Right? I don't think that they're going to get worse or anything like that. So, with Florida State, good win, right? I mean, good. I mean, if you're a Noles fan or an ACC fan, like, good for you. Good. Finally, Florida State actually kind of did something to open the season against somebody that matters in the sport. What happens from here? I don't know. They played Louisville on Friday night in Louisville on the 16th of September. So, because I guess they're off this weekend, right? And then they'll go up there and play on a Friday night. I mean, what's Wake going to be? Does Sam Hartman come back? Florida State's got to go to North Carolina State. They got Clemson. They got to go to Miami. I mean, like, this could be a much improved Florida State team and still have 5 losses, which doesn't meet their standards. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know last night that was wild. Everything that happened at the end of that was wild.
It was an interesting weekend for the ACC. Pittsburgh gets the win on Thursday night. Keith Slovis looking pretty good for them, 308 yards passing. Pittsburgh, maybe I did not give them enough credit with Slovis, but he certainly, they look like a team that can be a bit of a challenger. Then you skip ahead. Wake Forest won. They beat VMI, so I really didn't put anything of that. You skip ahead to Friday night, and things kind of took a turn there on the ACC. Virginia Tech goes on the road, and they can't win. 20-17.
Who scheduled that series?
Yeah.
They have to go to ODU 4 more times.
Yeah, if you have just a 10-year series with 6 games in Blacksburg and 4 at ODU, that's what is it? What's Babcock? Is it Mike Babcock? What's Babcock? I forget. It's the AD for
for Virginia Tech. That's a wild schedule. People that get upset about South Carolina going to Central Florida and East Carolina and was supposed to go to Boone and whatever year that I think they've now backed out of. Yeah, that's a wild scheduling court. Virginia Tech tied in with Old Dominion.
Dude, I hate to say it this way, but that's just stupid. I mean, you don't have to do that. What are you getting out of that?
Well, we're doing
You're getting nothing. I don't. That didn't make any sense. And then, hey, we talked about it last Monday. North Carolina and North Carolina State, both of them, they won by a combined 3 points. And both of them had every chance to lose the game. They just didn't.
You know what? Let's go back to that North Carolina State East Carolina game because people are weighing in and talking about special teams, and you had to do it. North Carolina State, without help of special teams, and I guess it's not really their special teams because East Carolina missed the extra point and then missed the game-winning field goal there at the buzzer. But North Carolina State, without special teams, North Carolina State doesn't win that ball game. East Carolina should have won that football game, at least forced overtime, if not kicked the field goal and won it outright 23-21 to end it. And North Carolina, I don't know what happened. Can you appropriately explain North Carolina and Appalachian State and 40 points from App State in the fourth quarter?
No. Dude, I mean, like, I don't like to get into all the scenarios as to whether a coach is going to be here next year or not. I just think it's ridiculous. It's message board fodder, and I'm not much interested in that. But on that note, like, do you really think that Matt Brown is planning to be here for another? I mean, is he going to drop the infamous Steve Spurrier line? I'll probably be here for another 2-3 months. I just noticed I said months, not years.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. What is North Carolina? Who are they? I mean, 2 years ago they were, this team that everybody just couldn't wait to see the future of North Carolina under Mac Brown. I mean, I don't know if anybody can wait to see. They got to go to Georgia State this week.
Right.
Bill, they're going to lose. I think Georgia State's going to beat them this week.
Mac just turned last week. I don't know, the 27th, whatever the August 27th was. He turned 71 years of age. Look, man, I'm not saying he's Nick Saban as a coach, but you're seeing guys coach longer, into their mid to late 70s. Saban's only 70. Saban will be 71 in October. That's what I'm missing. But you're seeing these guys go a little bit longer. It wouldn't surprise me with Mac Brown being there another 4 or 5 years, mainly because he strikes me as a guy who is going to have to be parted out of there. Like, he doesn't strike me as a guy who has any interest in doing anything else with his life. And he's probably going to have them at 6-6 and 7-5, and maybe get 8-4. You're right with Sam Howell that freshman year. Everybody thought, oh, here comes North Carolina. Look what they're about to do. And that ball game last year obviously was rough for them. Not for South Carolina fans, but now you look at it and they're struggling. You're right. They're on the road this week. They go to Atlanta. That's a huge game. Sean Elliott has another huge opportunity in Atlanta to pull a monster upset. It wouldn't be a shock. I have not looked. I know spreads came out. That was not one I looked at. Do you know off the top of your head what that spread is for this weekend?
It's 8. I think North Carolina's 8-point favorite.
Okay. All right. So
I think I do. I think they lose.
Yeah.
I think Georgia State beats them. I mean, their defense is awful. I mean, it's still atrocious. I think what's the stat, Bill? Like 10 of their last 14 games, they've given up at least 30 points, and in 9 of those games, it's been like 38 or more. I mean, that's just awful. It's awful.
Yeah. So we'll see with Mac Brown there again, as you just pointed out. They are 2-0 on the season, with 61 points there to App State 40 coming in the fourth quarter. They did at least avoid, a Virginia Tech S-type loss to start their season last year. They did beat Georgia State for the wonder. They played Sean and Georgia State last year in Chapel Hill and won 59-17. Sam Howell in that game threw for 352 and ran for 104. We'll see if there's a repeat of that this coming weekend, though, as Georgia State hosts North Carolina. A few others from the weekend. We mentioned North Carolina State. That was kind of a wild one. The ACC, as I was saying with the ACC, Boston College loses to Rutgers and Greg Schiano. And the only reason I brought that up is because
Rutgers was without their starting quarterback, starting running back, and they were missing one of their top three wide receivers as well over the weekend. And Rutgers goes in and knocks off a Boston College team that maybe a lot of people thought might be ready to push Clemson a little bit on that side of the division.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear you, and I don't know what to make of the ACC just yet. I just don't. I mean, I kind of thought. I mean, that you mentioned Boston College. I was like, well, we'll kind of see what happens with NC State. I would say we haven't seen them play yet, but still the cream of the crop and the best team in the league until somebody proves differently is going to be Clemson. I like Pittsburgh. I like what they look like. But everybody else, I mean, Florida State is an impressive win. Again, we just don't know, especially when you look at that schedule, what it's going to shake out to be for those guys. But nothing else in the league has impressed me. I mean, NC State, generally when they have expectations, they flop, and they certainly look well on the way to doing that again. So it's probably Clemson and then Pitt and then everybody else. That could change week to week. That's the way I see it now.
We will know more about a team that looked really good, albeit against Bethune-Cookman. Miami gets Southern Mississippi this weekend. That's not going to be like a huge test, but the 2 weeks from now, 9 o'clock in College Station, Miami goes to Texas A&M.
And is it recruiting hype, or do you buy into the NIL stuff, or is Miami legitimately ready to take a step? Kind of like Florida State, I think kind of like Pittsburgh. You wonder, are they ready to take steps? 7-13 over Bethune-Cookman, 28-point second quarter there. They roll as well. One other note from the ACC that caught my attention on Saturday. A lot of love to Scott Satterfield and Louisville over the offseason. They were recruiting really well, getting some guys from around the country. They go into Syracuse, of all places, Jamie, and get just blitzed 31-7 on Saturday. That wasn't a game I watched, but it was one that I had to rewind the TV when the score went across the bottom to make sure I saw that correctly. That was a bit of a shocker there.
Yep. That guy who was pretty much in the mix for this job in Carolina. Probably a lot of seeing that going fly train. Glad we had Shane Beaver. Yeah, that was something interesting too. I think is Dino Babers kind of coaching for his future this year? Is he kind of on that line?
I don't know. Who are they more worried about right now, Babers or Boeheim?
Probably Babers.
Yeah, Babers is okay, I think. This win, nobody will pay attention to him. We'll talk Jim Boeheim's future. Babers is just hanging out, collecting the check.
Yeah. I mean, they're more than likely to start 2-0. I mean, they got UConn this week, right?
Right.
So, there you go. There's our Syracuse football take of the week.
And just
Labor Day Monday.
That was just one of the scores that caught my attention. We'll get into the SEC side of things because Georgia, I don't know. That was wild. Florida's different than I thought. We'll get Jamie's thoughts on that. We'll talk some SEC football when we come back. You're listening to Jamie Bradford, Bill Gunner, and Jen Jensen. The early game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007, and on November 12, 107.5 The Game went on the air. And since then, we have celebrated with you 2 women's national championships in hoops.
A spectacular performance, and South Carolina has won the national championship.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
South Carolina has captured its second national championship. Tears of triumph in 2022.
Happy anniversary to us on your home of the Gamecocks.
It comes with a great deal of pressure. Pressure because we were the #1 team in the country.
Oh, yeah, I don't. I still haven't figured out how you exactly score 40 points in one quarter. But I guess I don't know. I don't know if this is Shane on right now doing a show on SEC Network or if this is taped. But I look up on SEC Network and Shane's on. Hold on to that Brian Kelly. I'll get into that at some point this week. That'll definitely even that if it sounds pretty good, it might even be a good little bumper or something, just the way he says that. Eight zero 6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. Jamie Bradford, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, as we've got you rolling through on a Labor Day Monday. Clemson and Georgia Tech tonight will wrap up the weekend that was pretty interesting weekend. Florida State, LSU last night, wild finish. Another wild finish for a state of the Florida team, Jamie. Utah, I had Utah winning. I had him going into the swamp and winning that game. Patrick and I made our picks on Friday. I'm gonna have to start sending picks to you and JC as well to join in with us there and have a complete competition. But I had Utah minus the 2.5. I thought that they would go down, but Billy Napier, Anthony Richardson, dude, I mean, I wasn't giving him credit. I've got to eat my hat or eat my words, whatever. Jamie, I'm impressed with Florida after week one. Yeah. Mhm. Well, Florida. Let's get through this month here with the Gators. They're Kentucky this coming weekend. Then they'll get Jeff Scott and South Florida, and then a really interesting one on September 24th. They go up to Neyland Stadium to take on Tennessee. I still want to see them, but I was kind of looking at the potential of Florida being 1-3 basically heading into the month of October. They won't be 1-3. They'll at least be 2-2, but they'll get Kentucky 7 o'clock ESPN game this coming Saturday. But I'm impressed. And Anthony Richardson had the big run in that game. Utah throws the interception there in the final, I think, 8 seconds, 10 seconds in the end zone. Utah had a chance to win it. But if Florida rolls, it'll set up what should be a thriller down in Jacksonville. I never want that game to move. I don't want to see the home and home there between Florida and Georgia. Georgia picks up right where they left off, man. 49-3 on our live stream. You can go to our live stream. Chuck weighs in and says, if Oregon was the number 11 team in the country, then I'm the president of the United States. What did you take away? I don't know what to take away from Georgia, just dismantling Oregon. The one thing, and this is what the one thing I took away, but I'm not sure what I'm taking away, was it feels like Georgia's we're either not going to give Stetson Bennett credit. We just already decided that he doesn't ever get to be the guy who gets credit, or we're still going to make him prove something. 25 of 31 for 368 and 2 touchdowns. Like, that's the thing, because I saw that stat line. Obviously, that game was kind of wrapping up as I was trying to get into Williams-Brice Stadium, and I saw that stat line late Saturday night. Is Stetson Bennett a Heisman candidate? Well, right. No, Bryce Young. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And they did I saw the little thing of him trying to win, two Heisman's. I wonder though, if Bennett continues to put up these numbers, does he get into the discussion to go to New York?
Generally, that's the quarterback, right? That's been the trend. So if he's putting up these type of numbers, what would be any different here? Yeah, you're right, and they're going to have ample opportunity against really good teams for him to showcase that. So I'm with you. Do you think so? I mean, I think so. But
I mean, his performance this past weekend, to me, if you had to say, all right, who's a Heisman front runner coming out of the week, and I know Bryce Young, as you just mentioned, is going to get all the headlines and all the attention. Stetson Bennett, if we didn't know anything, like, if you wiped your mind clean and you said, all right, I'm going to start watching football on Thursday, Stetson Bennett to me is the Heisman favorite right now. I know that Bryce Young's going to get a lot of attention. Keaton Slovis was very good. We talked about him, 308 yards, and is a guy who we know is talented. But yeah, to me, Stetson Bennett would be in that mix of top 4 guys. And right now, Bryce Young was good on Saturday night, but Utah State, they blew him out of the water. I'd have Bennett as the top guy.
Well, I mean, and when you like you said, wipe the slate clean, if you can do that, and then you look at, I mean, there as far as like which games were high-profile type game. The most high-profile game was the top 5 matchup between Notre Dame and Ohio State. The second most high-profile, if you're talking about where it comes to rankings and stuff like that, was Oregon and Georgia. And so you had a 3-11 matchup where the 11th ranked team in the country was just smashed for 370 yards through the air. So, if you add all of that up and put it on the resume and say, okay, this guy is or isn't a Heisman candidate, he is. I mean, you got to be more consistent. I mean, we get it. We're not stupid, right? It's week 1. I mean, a lot's going to change. But to your point, I mean, he hasn't even been, as much as he's accomplished and achieved as a starting quarterback, Bill, nobody has mentioned him for any trophy.
Right.
Like nothing to this point. And I, I don't know why, but maybe they're on a mission to change that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We roll through Georgia.
What does their first view look like, Georgia? I didn't even
That's what I was going to say. They're not going to be. This was their challenge. They've got Stanford. I'm kind of taking a shot at South Carolina when I say this, based on the offensive line I saw. Stanford, South Carolina, Kent State, and Missouri before Auburn on October 8th. And quite frankly, I'm not ready to say that Auburn is. I'm not ready to say that Auburn's better than South Carolina. So you look at the next several weeks. South Carolina against Stanford this week. South Carolina, Kent State, at Missouri, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and then again October 29th against Florida. That'll be followed by the game against Tennessee. So
let me ask you this. I don't. Dan Lanning is the head. I don't know where we are on top. So cut me off when you need to. But Dan Lanning being the head coach out there, Oregon has been a pretty well-respected football team for a while. Defensively, though, based on what we saw, and I get it, it's not really fair because Georgia and Oregon played, but based on what we saw from the Gamecocks and what we saw from Oregon, what's the best defense that Georgia's going to see early in the season? In our very uneducated, humble opinions now, is it South Carolina on the road in Columbia, or is it Oregon in Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta?
Well, I think you made a great point about Georgia's offensive staff. Obviously Stetson, Bennett. They knew that defense. They knew what Dan Lanning was trying to do and what he wanted to accomplish. And I think, if you take that into account, I go South Carolina defense. You pointed it out last week. I think you do have 2 5-stars on South Carolina's defensive line. Now, have they played like it in their career? No. Jordan Birch and Zach Pickens. Jordan Birch was a lot better on Saturday night. We'll see if he can keep it up. I would go with the South Carolina defense is going to be more difficult. But with that being said, I also say that because of the familiarity with Dan Lanning and knowing what he wanted to do. And that does, I think, help Stetson Bennett reach that 368 mark against that Oregon defense.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Stetson Bennett used to throw the football against Dan Lanning's defense every day, every week for a long time. So, I think that there was a lot to win into that. Kirby downplayed it last week, but make no mistake, they knew what was happening out there. And they just, there's nothing Oregon could do about it.
Jamie, we appreciate you joining us and even staying a little bit longer. You got a day off. Sounds like you get to hang out with the family for a little bit, but we're officially into football season.
Yeah, looking forward to Saturday against the Hogs. It's going to be a difficult test. Have you ever been to Fayetteville?
I've been one place I've never been.
Me neither, man. I know. I wanted to go this year, but with the schedule change coming up in the SEC, hopefully, maybe we'll all make one big trip over there and we'll have JC meet us.
That sounds like a great time. Look forward to catching up with you next week and appreciate you joining us.
Have a good week. Thanks, guys.
You too. Jamie Bradford joining us this morning as he does each and every Monday to break down what he saw and talk back and forth on some college football. It's Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. Oh gosh. Yeah, I apologize, Robin. Like I said, the computer's got an issue and it's a holiday and nobody's here to fix it. And Jen and I are not that kind of engineer. Oh.
Well,
I'll get to Ray here, and we'll come back in. Let's play number, I think 7 is what I want. Yeah, number 7 there. Problems going downfield. So we'll play that, get to Ray, take a break, come back, do one final segment, take a break, go home. All right, we'll get Jamie involved in the picks too.
ow.
Eight zero 6100. That's Shane Beamer on Saturday night, talking a little bit about the offensive game plan. Look, he's not shying away from the fact that things didn't go well. Beamer didn't go in to the postgame press conference and try and blow smoke up everybody's hiney and say, hey, no, this was a fine performance. He's admitted that this is not acceptable, that they're going to have to play a lot better. Now the question will simply become, okay, how and how quickly. Your next 2 games, if South Carolina doesn't have a competent blocking scheme, the next 2 games are going to be ugly. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the phone lines. Ray has waited very patiently this morning. Appreciate you doing that, Ray. Hope you're having a great Labor Day morning. What's on your mind? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Brad Johnson's number 19 linebacker. Jamie and I talked a little bit about that, and the linebacking position seemed to play a lot better. I think South Carolina, you feel very good about the linebacking position, Ray. And certainly, we'll just see. They've got to improve though. It can't be. South Carolina didn't. One thing we can say for certain, South Carolina didn't peak this week, and that's a good thing. Play number 6 going into the break when he's done. I'll set it up, and we'll play 6 going into the break, and I'll do the AAA spot. No problem. Appreciate the phone call there. So 803-404-6100. We'll take you to break with some of the offensive concerns that Shane Beamer had following Saturday night's game. That first part maybe could also be some kind of line or opener. Oh, well. Oh. There's going to be some changes to the current minimum SEER rating for HVAC systems starting in 2023. And that's kind of important for you to understand, to learn about, and know that now is a great time to get in touch with AAA Heating and Air and take advantage of some of the deals they're offering, because they've got to clear their warehouse. That's right. There will be, starting in 2023, the HVAC systems, the minimum SEER ratings is going to change, and current inventory will not be allowed to be sold after December 31st. Again, this means it's a fantastic time to call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. No deals will be turned down. And the best part, AAA Heating and Air guarantees financing. That doesn't just mean if you have great credit that you get financing. They will take care. If you've had some bumps along the road, maybe you've missed a few payments before and your credit rating got dinged, well, AAA Heating and Air is ready to help you make sure you get financing on a brand new heating and air unit. So if that's been a concern of yours, call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. AAA Heating and Air must empty their warehouse to make room for these brand new systems. So they are taking all deals possible. And again, they're guaranteeing financing as well as offering a 15-year parts and labor warranty that's absolutely transferable. Call them today, 803-677-1500. You can enjoy new home comfort as quickly as tomorrow. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Oh, we're done with the show. We're done with the show. Oh, I need to stretch. All right. Oh, forgot to take this down. I apologize. You got a full-time job in Nashville. He got a full-time position up there and wasn't able to do both. Turn that off. Yeah, I would say offensive line. Yeah, the receivers, given a few opportunities, receivers looked good. I think you came out of that fairly happy. Yeah, I'll go back and rewatch again today and just see, pay more attention to the offensive line. But I'm not an offensive line coach. Me rewatching, what am I going to see that all of a sudden I figure out? It will be interesting to see what Clemson does tonight. See if we got an updated line real quick here. The Vegas Insider spread, 23.5. BetMGM, Caesar Sportsbook, they're rolling with 23.5. So I don't really like how Vegas Insider now puts their spreads out because I can't see the over-under. Final segment of the program, but if you want to get your thoughts and opinions in, don't you worry. Pearson Fowler is next. Some collection of Jay, Terry, and Tommy from 12 to 3, and Heath Klein from 3 to 6. So even though it's Labor Day, If you're sitting at home, if you're going out on the lake, if you're having a little barbecue, don't worry. You can continue to listen to us and offer insight as we are into football season, and it feels good. You'll have Clemson and Georgia Tech tonight. The Tigers a 23.5-point favorite. Over under is set for 50. Actually, I think it's up to 50.5 at this point. The game opened as a 20.5-point favorite for the Tigers. And again, now up to a 23.5-point favorite, depending on where you look. 50.5 appears to be the over under. That will lead us into Thursday night football, but Thursday night football will come from the NFL, your Thursday night game. So you get a game tonight, you get to rest, recuperate, recover, drink some water, hydrate, maybe eat a little healthier on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, Buffalo and the Los Angeles Rams. So you'll get Josh Allen versus the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. That game will be out at SoFi Stadium on your Thursday night. So that will be right back into it, 8:20 there on NBC. So gear up, get ready for that. And then we'll be right back into the college football weekend next Friday. We will kick off another exciting weekend of college football with a few games. Louisville traveling to Central Florida, and Boise State at New Mexico will be your Friday night games next week. The lineup for next week, the big one, I think game day is in Austin, Texas. I'm not 100% sure on that, but Alabama at Texas. You'll get to really see what Quinn Ewers is made of. Bryce Young and number 1 Alabama roll into DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium, and look to take on the Longhorns. After that, a few other okay games. It's not a great slate next week. We got some what could be sneaky good games. Appalachian State goes out to Texas A&M. Tennessee goes up to Pittsburgh. Again, that one actually might be fairly entertaining, Tennessee and Pittsburgh. Obviously, South Carolina and Arkansas as well, but I was kind of taking a more national approach. Iowa State at Iowa. The Cy Hawk Trophy will be on the line. Everybody wants to win that sucker. And then next week at night, your kind of bigger game is Kentucky at Florida. That'll kind of be the highlight of the evening. The ABC game next week, Southern Cal and Stanford. So maybe a chance to check out what Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams do. There's also a late game that right now features ranked teams, Baylor at BYU. That's like a 10-15 game from Provo. Baylor blowing out Albany College over the weekend. BYU upending South Florida there. So the Cougars rolling along 1-0 after a 50-21 victory. So kind of your weekend slate. It backs down a little bit next week, but we will get you through this coming week. Again, a lot to get to. Going back, analyzing, talk more about quarterbacks around the country. Jaden Daniels transferring, Spencer Rattler, obviously, Caleb Williams, Keaton Slovis, all these transfer quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers. We'll take a little bit more of a look tomorrow at some of the transfer quarterbacks and how they did. J.C. Sherbert will join us from 7 to 8 a.m. And Drew Barrett of ESPN Arkansas will be on with us tomorrow morning as well. We'll get you a look at the Razorbacks. I watched a little bit of their game against Cincinnati on Saturday, and KJ Jefferson is going to be a handful. And so while I think South Carolina's defense performed very well on Saturday night and makes you feel like they're continuing to trend in the right direction under Clayton White, they're going to get a test this week from Arkansas, from KJ Jefferson. The way Arkansas wants to line up and run the football, but don't get it twisted now. Arkansas will throw the football around. I know they lost Treylon Burks, but Arkansas's got a passing attack. They've got some guys. Jaden Hazelwood, the transfer from Oklahoma, is now there and looked pretty good this past Saturday. They've got Raheem Sanders, who's a guy who can do a whole bunch of things. That was a guy South Carolina actually recruited pretty heavily. But Sanders, 20 carries, 117 yards over the weekend. Trey Knox, a bigger, taller target, 6'6", now moved to tight end, 75 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Razorbacks over the weekend. So we'll continue to get you ready with Drew Barrett from ESPN Arkansas tomorrow. J.C. Sherbert will join us. And again, a lot of people will be heading back to work and want to weigh in. 803-404-6100. You can hop on the phone lines. Pearson Fowler is next. You can give him some hot takes as well. I think I heard a liner this morning say you could come to my house and yell at me. I'd kind of prefer you not do that. I'm going to go back and enjoy my holiday. Take a nap, Jen. It has been a long weekend. We didn't get into it, but Darlington was a lot of fun yesterday. Did you 43? That guy, yeah. Back-to-back weekends, right? No. Tyler, who won it last week? Yeah. That's the way we wrap up the program. It's been the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Hopefully we'll get the audio fixed. I was trying to play, like while Jamie was on, I was trying to be able to turn up the speaker in here, but I know it will echo then when you talk, so it made it kind of challenging.
Yeah, well, it's not a hard fix. I've just got to figure out how to get my password sent back to me. But it doesn't say, hey, for your password. So I've got to figure out how to log in. We'll figure it out. It ain't going to be hard.
No. Just need it because
y'all have a great Labor Day.
All right.
Jen and I are getting out of here.
Yep. See you guys.
Take care.
Bye.
How you guys, morning?